we've seen so much from you over the last 4.5 years as like the veteran of this team. We don't know what's going to happen this summer, but if this is it for you here in Sacramento, just what do you want your legacy to be, and maybe what's your proudest moment from your time here?
Jeez, make it sound like I'm dying. um, yeah, that's a lot. I mean, look, I think this is a great game. It's a great city, and I think to be able to, you know, come at a point to this team where we're trying to build something, and there's just a lot of instability, a lot of ups and downs. I think to get it to where we are now, where um, it's the complete opposite. There is stability. There's a lot of fun, a lot of winning. Great atmosphere. Super rewarding for the fans. It's great, and I think that I think there's a lot of good basketball left to be played. Collectively. As an organization, all that type of stuff. So, you never know what the future may hold, but I'm proud of where we are.
HB, do you feel like you have an idea, or is it going to be a complete mystery stepping into this summer about your future?
I mean, I'm proceeding as everything's on the up and up. Obviously, great relationship with the guys. Long relationship with the organization. So, the focus is on that and for building for next year until I hear otherwise.
And just given the series, your guys' relationship, it was nice to see that moment with you and Draymond. I don't know kind of what's going through your head, but are you able to maybe shed some light on just what that moment meant to you and maybe what the future holds there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that look, I've never been in a postseason where Golden State hasn't been involved. So I think there's just a lot of a lot of memories between me and all those guys in those locker room. Obviously Barbosa's here. Andre Iguodala didn't play in that series, but just a lot. There's just a lot of a lot of family support there, and I think being in a game 7 where you have three of the coaches that you've played for, one commentating and two are actually on the floor. It's kind of crazy, but um, yeah, it was a great battle, and I think you look back on it and you cherish those moments. Obviously, would have wished you would have came out with the win, but it is what it is. For sure. I mean, I think you definitely have to go through the bumps and bruises to get to where you want to as a team. I think to get to the second round my rookie year, and I think for as a group and a collective, we thought we were going to kind of take that next step the next year and have a first round exit in a game 7. Was highly disappointing. We felt like we had a better team than that. And the next year to be in the finals, right? It was all the things you had to go through. So I think for this group, especially because we felt like it was right there. We felt like we were going to be able to advance and see what happens, and to not have that, um, collectively as a group, we felt like we had more basketball left to play. We felt like we as a team were a good team. We felt like we could have advanced. We felt like it would have been a special moment for this organization, this city. But I know that's the motivation I think coming into the offseason is how do you get better and grow from that.
Harrison, what's your big takeaway from this season with everything that happened from the beam, the fans, the atmosphere, playoffs, the streak, all what's the biggest takeaway from these past 89 games?
Uh, I think really just a breakthrough. I mean, just finally putting things together that worked, and finally getting over that hump as a collective. I think it's one thing if you say, okay, this guy had a good season, but we're on track to get a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick, or it's kind of disjointed, like individual success and collective success. But I think like as an organization, as a team, I think for everyone to get to where we wanted to get to, in terms of giving ourselves a shot to advance out of the first round, a goal that we'd set, at the beginning of the season, and then to see that through. And I think that was big for us. I think as a group, as a collective, and obviously a lot of young guys on this team, new staff. I think, like I said, it carries that momentum into the offseason to get better. I mean, we wanted a playoff run. I mean, that was what we came into um, the season saying. I mean, we didn't want to be just a team that we tried to make it to the playoffs. We tried to make the playing game and we got swept in the first round. Like that wasn't our goal and our mentality. We wanted to. We believed we had a good team. We believed we had the opportunity to advance. And like I said, I mean, we got to Game 7, obviously against a very good team, and unfortunately weren't able to advance. But we felt like we had enough in our locker room to do that at the beginning of the season.
HB, do you want to be back here next year? And how important is it to keep this core of that you guys have established, especially the starting five that's been playing basically every game together? How important would that be to keep everybody together?
I mean, it'd be special. I mean, like I've said, I mean, I have equity in Sacramento. Just being through a lot of the long seasons and to finally, like I said, be on the other side of that and to have a collective experience and feel like I said, we were knocking at the door. Obviously, we didn't advance the second round, but we were knocking at the door to really, I feel like taking off as a team. I thought that would have been great. And obviously, we've all been around. We know it's a business. And a lot of things happen. But to continue on with this group, I think that'd be a special thing.
Harrison, when you look back on it, how special was this year for you guys, and where does it rank throughout your career?
And I mean, I think in terms of expectations coming into the season and how we performed, I mean, it's one of the more special seasons that I've had in my 11 years, right? Definitely reminiscent to kind of my rookie year where no one really gave us a chance, no one really thought we were going to be anything, and you just kind of start winning and start out overachieving expectations, and people kind of are doubting you, and it's never quite you know validated until it's validated, right? It's one of those things. So it's special, I think, just to kind of see the team come together and obviously light the beam and all that type of stuff. No, everything kind of just worked in concert. So I think that it was nice to win, but also to have a lot of fun doing it as well.
HB, you got here, I think, in Fox's second year in the NBA, and I'm curious to get your perspective on the growth, maybe from him when you first got here to where he is now as a player and a person.
Yeah, I mean, when I first got here, I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, he still had long hair, and I'll never forget. Vlade was talking to me about him, and he's like, I think this guy could be, like a top 5, like point guard in the league. And I was in Dallas at the time, and he was one of the guys that we wanted to draft, but obviously we couldn't move up high enough to get him. And so I'd always been a fan of his game, and I think just to see over the years, obviously the maturation of him as a person. I mean, just growing as an individual, become a husband, father, all those things, which has been great to see. But I think just as a player, growing and developing, and then obviously, this year, going up toe to toe against Steph, and kind of validating once again that you're a superstar on that stage. And I think that's just great to see. I think it's a credit to his hard work. I think his desire to be great. You know, his perseverance. I think to get through the losing seasons and just kind of the different coaches and just all of the things that can trip up a player, be used as an excuse for why a guy didn't achieve X, Y, and Z potential. I think he's risen above that.
Harrison, a couple quick ones. The first one is, how much pride do you take in your availability at this part in your career, being able to play in every single game?
I take a lot of pride in that. Definitely credit to the team around me of people who make sure that my body's right and I'm able to go every single day. I think to be out there for my teammates, one, obviously just to be available, but two, to hopefully just give them an example of it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, we can all do what we need to do, make the sacrifices possible to give ourselves opportunity to win games. And I think that guys making that sacrifice throughout the year is really what made our season, right? I mean, obviously you see Domas with his hand, obviously you see Fox with his hand in the playoffs. I mean, guys not missing time for that. You know, what I mean, it gives us opportunity to win games. It gives us opportunity to keep our season alive. And I mean, if as a collective we're not, making ourselves available, I mean, this season could have been over very, very quickly.
And you seem to enjoy being a complementary player to so many different teammates. Mike spoke at the beginning of the year about individual meetings that he had with you and expressing what your roles were. Now that the season's over, do you mind sharing what specifically he told you about your role with this group this year?
Uh, it's funny. I mean, it really wasn't a role. It was more just like, um, just go out there and lead, and in whatever form that kind of takes, you take that. You know what I mean? Whether it's defending, whether it's rebounding, whether it's um, scoring, whether it's encouraging guys with their voice, whatever it may be. And um, I think that's what it's about. I mean, we've had so many guys out the year, and I've said it multiple times who've stepped up and who've allowed us, to win games, who've allowed us to be in great positions, whether it's Malik, Trey, TD, Davion, Alex Lynn, Chimezi Metu, whoever it is, like guys at different points have stepped up and been big for us. And I think that, is the hallmark of a good team. And, Mike's been around that, I've been around that. We know what that looks like. We know there's those guys, on those teams that, they make those sacrifices that let things click. And, for me, I was trying to fill in wherever I could, and whatever was asked of me. And he knew I could do that and try to do it to the best of my ability.
Har- yeah, Harris, right here. Last season, after the last game, you were pretty outspoken about the organization at that time. Players coming in, maybe it was their last stop on the way out the league, and revolving doors with the coaches, and things like that. But it's been a drastic turnaround, a positive drastic turnaround, and to editorialize it has been impressive because you guys won 51 games this season. So just want to get your thoughts, your commentary on the organization as a whole right now and the direction that it's going in.
Yeah, I mean, finishing this season on a loss and last season on a loss is definitely different emotions. I'm with that. Um, Maybe we won last season, the last game. I don't even remember. It was a blur. But no, I just think that look, at the end of the day, everyone puts as players and coaches, you put so much time into your craft, right? You put so much time into like trying to get the most out of yourself, out of your teammates, out of everything you can do to try to win these games. And when you don't get that, there's a natural level of frustration. And you want to be better, not only for yourself, but this is a team sport. This isn't golf, right? Like you want everyone to do better. And I think um in a year kind of change that dynamic, change the national, I think, perspective of Sacramento, the Sacramento Kings, the style of play that we do, kind of what our values are, principles, all those types of things. I think that's um, one of the more rewarding things I think to be a part of is just to not be the end of the joke every single time in the league, not to be the team that um, people are laughing at, or not to be the team that you know people aren't proud to be a part of, but it's actually a place where people look at you and they respect what you're doing, they respect the way that we play. I think you see just whether talking to uh, other people, other players, other coaches, referees, media, whoever, who acknowledge that this is not the same Sacramento that they've seen in the past. I think um, that's huge. So I think just the difference between last year to this year and having that optimism, that momentum, and motivation coming into next season, I think that's huge.
HB, two questions. One quickly, do you see a future in politics for yourself? You can be the senator from Iowa someday, or California maybe.
Nah, man, I'm gonna be out of the spotlight, man. I'll be somewhere, probably out in the wilderness, just checking out bank stocks. I'll be out of the way.
Growing that beard.
Yeah.
Secondly, you played 317 games for this franchise now. That's more than any other stop for you. To be here 4.5, 5 years, and to be a part of this breakthrough this year, and to see the city light up and everything that's happened. Just how proud of you, or how proud are you to be a part of that, and what does it mean to you personally?
It's been great. Like I said, I think just to see the evolution of the team. I think the stability that's now here. I think we have a standard of play that we can say like, look, this is how we're gonna play, which we haven't. There's a couple years there. It was every night was different. So I think just to kind of have that stability, to have guys where you can look around and say, okay, like these are guys that are going to be that want to be here. We were able to kind of have consistent, just consistency, organizational consistency. There's no one's coming to this meeting and we're not saying who's going to be the GM or who's going to be the coach next year. To have that going into next year, right? All those things that a lot of people just take for granted. We have that here. So I think that overall, it's just it's a lot of relief. I think it's just nice to know that we're trending in the right direction and everything going into the offseason is just really basketball focused. It's not really any other distractions or anything else that you have to try to manage or worry about. It's just how do you get better and how does the group find ways to spend time with each other. Appreciate it, guys.